My name is Arman Vakili, and you and I are going to go through the constitutional amendments together. I did a series already on the Constitution, and you can find the link to that somewhere on here. And if you haven't read through the Constitution, I would recommend you go through it. It's a very enlightening experience. And the reason that we're doing this mainly is because if you're a citizen in the States or a resident, and you kind of want to know what you can do and you can't do, what the rules and regulations of the United States are. That's basically what the Constitution and the amendments are. And the second reason, which in my opinion is the more important reason, is for us to know as a people, so for you and I to know as the people, that we actually have the power. The power is to the people. And as we go through the amendments and you go through everything, you'll kind of come to that conclusion yourself as well. And the reason why this is important is because the media, mass media, wants to make us believe that the power is actually in the hands of a select few. And they demonize these people by, saying the rich people are bad or the government officials are bad, whatever side you're on doesn't really matter, right? They do these things because they want our eyeballs, because it's very fun for us to watch these kinds of things and we get distracted. And through the process, we also forget that we actually have the power. It's not these people that have the power. These people are at our service, right? The reason why government officials are there is to help decide what's best for the people, ideally. And it's like business people become successful and wealthy because they are of service to the people. And so for us to understand that the power is with us is very, very important. And then it begs the question, okay, well, what is my power, right? Like, what are my rights? What can I do? And that is why we're going into the amendments together. So, second in our list of Reconstruction amendments is the 14th Amendment. Citizenship rights, equal protection, apportionment, and Civil War debt. This is another amendment that has multiple sections. So here we go. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Okay? Going into section 2. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for president and vice president of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion or other crime, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. That was a very, very chunky section. Okay, here we go. Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress, or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or in any state, who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress, or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid to comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Okay, fine. Is there a section 4? There is a section 4. Okay, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave. Wow, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held legal and void. Okay, Section 5. The Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. Okay. All right. So let's go into the interpretation. First, we have to understand. That this is right after the 13th Amendment. So first, let's see what date as a reminder, when the 13th came out and when the 14th came out. Okay, so the 13th Amendment was passed January 31st of 1865 and ratified December of 1865. It passed and then it got ratified in 65, okay, December of 65. Then the 14th Amendment was passed on June of 66 and ratified 2 years later on June of 1868. And including, this is the big one where it granted citizenship, right, to all persons born and naturalized in the United States, including enslaved people, and provided all citizens with equal protection under the laws. Okay, so 64, right? No, 65, excuse me. 65, the abolition of slavery happens in 65. In 66, all of those abolished states now need lives, right? They need to go and be able to do things and get the rights that citizens have. So there needs to be an amendment that goes into place that says, hey, every single person born in the United States or naturalized in the United States, which includes people who were enslaved because they were brought here from another country without permission, right? Without their permission. And the people who were enslaved is what I'm talking about here. But they were brought over here without consent. There you go. That's probably a better word. They were brought over here without consent. They're from a different country. And you have all these laws in this country that says, yeah, the citizens who are, either naturalized or born here get all these rights. Well, I don't think this actually even came up until this point. Like, this wasn't even a concern up until this point. So the slaves are freed. And now it's, okay, well, we have all these free people that weren't born here, and they're not what we originally deemed to be citizen or whatever. So now we have to give them these same rights. So the amendment comes into play. That was passed a year later, less than a year later, ratified 2 years later, that gives rights to born or naturalized citizens in the United States. And so this is the Section 1 of our 14th Amendment. And then it also just continues to say, no state shall make or enforce any law which abridges the privileges or immunities of these people, or deprive them of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny them within their jurisdiction the equal protection of their laws. So it's saying that, all of these people that are now naturalized and considered citizens, you need to take care of them the way that you would any other people. And it's kind of sad that this had to actually be a law or an amendment that is put into play, but it is an amendment that needed to be put into play because, it just needed to be declared. It needed to be put in writing so that certain type of people will actually buy into it, right? Section 2 said representatives shall be apportioned among several states according to their respective numbers. This was the one I think that I laughed at the very end. So it says, representatives shall be proportioned from several states according to, the population of that state, counting all of the people excluding Indians who aren't taxed, right? But when the right to vote at an election, any election, okay, for any of these people is denied to any of the male inhabitants of that state who are 21 years of age or older, then except for participation in rebellion or crime or whatever. So if their right is denied, except if they participate in a rebellion or crime, there shall be reduced for, shall bear the whole number of male citizens 21 and say, okay, hold on, wait. I need to pick up the rest of the sentence because I lost the sentence. So it says, but when the right to vote at any election for these people is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, who is this type of a person, or in any way abridged, so denied or abridged, except for participation in this or other crimes, The basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. This is a very, very interesting thing. So representatives shall be proportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of people and da-da-da. But when the right to vote at an election, let's see, maybe this is the word that I'm missing here. Maybe I need to know what this word means specifically. Divided and allocated. Okay, so divided and allocated. Representatives shall be divided and allocated among the states according to their respective population. Okay, that's fine. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors, oh, I see. So when the right to vote at any election for any of these people that we're voting for, so these would be our representatives. I see. If that right is denied to any of the inhabitants in this state, the basis of the representation shall be reduced in the proportion. I see. Wow, what a long-winded way of saying this. Okay, fair enough, fine. So representatives shall be divided among the state according to their population, but when the right to vote at an election for these people is denied for however number of people that aren't allowed to vote anymore, then we have to adjust for the total number. It's such a, okay, fine. It's a very nuanced kind of a section of this amendment, but we went through it and we figured it out. Okay, so section 3, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector or vice president or hold any office, civil or military. Oh, this was the one that I laughed at. Okay, so no person shall be any of these people under the United States or any state who previously took an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or a member to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid to comfort to enemies thereof. So, no person shall be a senator or any of these things who previously took an oath as any of these things. This is crazy. To support the Constitution shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion or given aid to comfort the enemies thereof. Okay? So you can't be a senator or be somebody in Congress or any of these things under the United States or any other state if you previously took an oath as a member of Congress or an officer of the United States or a state legislature or executive judicial officer to support the Constitution, etc., engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or even given comfort to aid or comfort to the enemy. So it's like you can't be these things if you have done any of these things. But this part. But Congress can make vote to 2/3 of each house to remove this disability. So it's like, yeah, no person can be this or this if any of these things have applied. But Congress can vote 2/3 of each house and remove this disability anyways. That's basically what Section 3 says. So it's giving you all of the, like, it's literally giving you all of the things that you can't have been previously if you want to become a senator or representative. But then it's also saying, yeah, technically we could just, vote past this anyways. Section 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions, bounties for services, insurrection, or rebellion shall not be questioned. So the validity of your debt is not going to be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay that debt or obligation incurred in the aid of resurrection or rebellion against the U.S. or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave, but all your debts are going to be void, shall be held illegal and void. So it's like the U.S. isn't going to pay for the losses that you took, and these types of losses are going to be held illegal and void. So this is what we're going to honor, okay? We're going to honor public debt of the U.S. authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions, bounties, in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, they're not going to be questioned, okay? But not only either is the U.S. or the state is going to pay or handle any of your insurrection or rebellion against the U.S., or your loss of or emancipation of your slaves. Not only are we not going to pay for your losses here, but we're also not even going to address that this was even a debt, right? So it's like all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. So not only are we not going to pay you, but we're also going to void these debts so you can't get paid, period. We're not going to honor it as like a valid public debt. That's pretty cool. I like this one. This is a good one. This protects the people, who were human beings and were good people, and it, takes a dig at the people who own slaves or, rebellion against the state or insurrection against the state, basically. Section 5, the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So this is a really chunky amendment, and there was a lot going on, and as we kind of covered in the history of things that were going on, this was necessary, right? This was something that they had to do because there was probably a lot of chaos going on within the country, and they needed to declare certain things on paper and officially so that, the dust can settle and people can hopefully try to move forward with the rest of their lives. But I mean, if you are aware of the U.S. history at all, it took a long time after the abolition of slavery for black people to, I mean, it can still be argued that they're not welcomed right now in 2023, but it took a long time after 1865 for black people to be welcomed, quote unquote, by the rest of America. So this is, again, this could, I'm speaking based on opinion. You guys are more than welcome to share your opinions and debate with me, of course, so on and so forth. I'm just interpreting, going through all these things and just trying to make sense of everything that's going on with the amendments. So yeah, this was the 14th amendment, the second in the Reconstruction amendments. And so we're going to go into the third and final Reconstruction amendment, which is the 15th amendment.